Procrastination is a recurring problem in many people's lives. It can lead to decreased productivity, increased anxiety, and avoidance of responsibilities. Constantly feeling like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing can be overwhelming. The Stoics, including philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, were deeply concerned about procrastination. They had so many responsibilities in their lives that they couldn't afford to procrastinate. Overcoming procrastination is not easy, because we often choose instant gratification over effort. But discipline and overcoming procrastination complement each other. If you are watching this video, it is because you want to change and be more productive. Stay in control of your mind and actions to beat procrastination. Overcoming procrastination also makes you happier, because when you start acting responsibly, you will feel at peace with yourself. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and history philosopher, had the same hours a day as you and me to accomplish his work and fulfill his responsibilities. He had time to become an emperor, to rule the largest and most powerful empire of antiquity. Philosopher-writer, he took care of his wife, created laws, attended trials, led armies, and guided the people of Rome through a terrible plague. He did all of this while remaining just, and avoiding the vices or sins that other emperors fell into. The key to Marcus Aurelius' success was that he always had a routine in his life and practiced habits. Marcus Aurelius made all his responsibilities a fundamental part of his life. Just as we must eat, wash, and sleep, he turned these responsibilities into something fundamental. Something he could not live without achieving, like Aristotle. Wise men throughout history have understood over and over again that we are what we do. Perfection is not an action but a habit. For example, for Marcus Aurelius, the day started early. In his own words, "When you wake up, think about what a precious privilege it is to be alive. To breathe, to think, to have fun, to love." For him, there was no time to lie in bed. He started the day by writing in his personal diary. He took a few minutes to write down his thoughts, and organized his mind by remembering the essentials. Then he prepared himself to face his responsibilities and the people around him. He would say to himself, "People are rude, arrogant, ill-tempered. They will find heirs for themselves, and expect you to follow their whims." Marcus Aurelius knew that he could not let these people influence his decisions and happiness. The way he thought was right. He was clear that he had to act. After that, Marcus Aurelius started work with his most important responsibilities. He said, "Start your morning by telling yourself this: I will meet busybodies, ungrateful, arrogant, cheating, jealous, asocial people. All this happens to them because they don't know what good and bad are." There is no room for procrastination, as you can see from the routine. I'm sure you too may be wondering how you can act like Marcus Aurelius and overcome procrastination. I will explain how to prepare mentally and what habits you should follow. Don't worry. I will now reveal 7 tips that have personally helped me prevent procrastination. First, change your focus. Procrastination is a first-world problem. We procrastinate because we can afford to do it. We can afford to eat enough to eat. Ask someone who doesn't have a meal if they have ever procrastinated. Most of us live relatively comfortable lives. That's why we need to increase our sense of urgency when dealing with our responsibilities. When we procrastinate and have a deadline to meet obligations, as the deadline approaches, we start doing everything at the last minute. It seems that laziness goes away, and by doing what is necessary, we become productive. All this happens due to the sense of urgency. Set your own deadlines to fulfill your responsibilities. This will increase the urgency of work and help you overcome procrastination. So how can you make sure that you meet the deadline you have set? For example, you can talk to a family member or friend, and if you do not finish your task before the deadline, you will have to give them some money. This penalty will force you to take action before the deadline you have chosen. Remember, it is very important to increase your sense of urgency to stop procrastination. Secondly, avoid low-level distractions. Actions that replace the things we need to do, that we usually postpone. Low-level distraction. When I say low-level distractions, It is very important to add nothing to our lives. I'm talking about wasting time doing something that doesn't add anything. Also, realize that you are suffering because deep down you know you need to do something else. So not only does it add nothing, but you don't fully enjoy this distraction. You don't enjoy it anymore, even if you did it after you finished your responsibilities. Secondly, change the order of action. First work, then have fun. Thirdly, rearrange your responsibilities. There are some tasks we need to complete that are difficult or time-consuming. And this can overwhelm us or make us anxious, which will most likely end up procrastinating. What should you do in such situations? If I ask you if you can work without distraction for 5 hours, you probably can't. But can you work for an hour without distraction? This is more likely. You can do it for even 5 minutes. Anyone can work for 5 minutes straight. If we apply this logic to longer or more difficult tasks, i.e., break them into smaller parts and focus on each part, take the first step as the last one. Every procrastinator knows that the hardest part is always starting the task. Once you start, you have already tackled the hardest part. Don't force yourself to start. Don't think about how long it will take to finish the task. Don't think about finishing all the difficulties of what you have to do. Just start with the first step. This is the hardest but the most important, and that will help you get to the second, gaining momentum to continue steps 3 and 4. Being a procrastinator has an advantage here too. Once you start, you won't want to stop because you know how difficult it is to start over or continue where you left off. Fourthly, use the 5-second rule. One of the strategies I use in my daily life in connection with the previous item is a 5-second rule to take the first step. This rule, as the name suggests, involves counting to 5, and when you reach 5, you start the task. The idea here is to empty your mind and not think about anything. Just count to 5 and start without questioning yourself. What bothers me is this trick helps me a lot in life. When I want to do something, I count to 5 and do it without thinking. Use the Pomodoro technique as well. The Pomodoro technique divides your study time into more accessible parts. This way, your tasks become easier to face. It is harder to start working if you think you have 5 hours of work ahead of you. But if we divide this time using the Pomodoro technique, it becomes more manageable. The Pomodoro technique involves working continuously for 25 minutes and then taking a break for 5 minutes. This is called a Pomodoro. After 4 Pomodoros, take a 20-minute break and repeat the process. Everyone can work continuously for 25 minutes, for it takes an hour of doing Pomodoro. If we realize that, it means we work for 40 minutes with full focus followed by a 20-minute break. We focus on working for an hour and 40 minutes uninterrupted. It is challenging. We will probably get distracted. We may not even start because we will have to postpone. But with this trick, you can work in 25-minute segments, something everyone can do with 10,000% efficiency. Eliminate distractions. Our brain always looks for the easiest way. If you have a phone near your work area, a video game, or anything else that will distract you, you should remove all these distractions from your work environment. Create an environment that makes it difficult to procrastinate. So the only thing you can do is complete your task. Start by identifying what the things are that prevent you from doing what you have. Learn and remove them from your workspace so that it is not easy to procrastinate. What do you think about these tips to prevent procrastination? Remember that we need discipline to effectively apply all the tips I mentioned before. Without discipline and the desire to change, we cannot achieve anything. Have a nice day until next time.